Can't believe it, we finally got a Supernova animation and it's glorious. Hello everybody, I got quite some insane and outrageous games for you guys today, specifically certain ones against Fiendsmith Control. Fiendsmith Control currently being the best deck in the game right now, so those are gonna be some absolutely insane games. Before we get to those games though, I kinda wanna do the deck list first. The main reason I wanna do the deck list first is because we just had a structure deck, which means that I can make some budget lists for you guys that are actually fairly reasonable if you want to play this deck, and then we can afterwards go to my deck list, which is the one that I got to Master 1 with, but it allows me to show you very cheap versions of like a Red Dragon Archfiend deck, and then one where you add in the like a small Centur-Ion engine to make it incredibly powerful. If you're on a really tight budget, I would recommend this list, but I would make further adjustments based on your actual budget. Like if you don't happen to have Crossout Designator, you might want to cut it. Magna Mod you can cut, and if you do cut Lubellion, you need to cut Saronia and Regained as well, which puts your list at 40 cards. I wouldn't recommend running this just be like, oh yeah, 40 cards, pleases my OCD, this is the list I want. That's not good, because Red Dragon Archfiend usually plays better with more cards. Other than that, I can tell you the kind of mandatory crafts. We have Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, you definitely want that, and you need to craft this Pater. Aside from that, there's a bunch of stables that you either got from bundle or you might have to craft. We have Effect Veiler here, bundle. Drone Lockbird, you probably craft these because they're SR. Then you have Maxi, you know, Maxi is just, what, the most powerful card in the game. Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit is from a bundle. You need 3 Ash Blossoms, I think you can get 1 from a bundle. Then Whirloop is a very powerful tool that the structure deck does not have, that enables our grind game and does absurd things for us. So that's a really good card to add. It's not even, you know, anything special in that sense. Nibiru you got from a bundle. Then you have Void Apocalypse. This card is amazing. In pure Resonator, you can send Bone Archfiend to the graveyard with it. Either if your soul was negated or just if you want a full 1-card combo, Bone Archfiend can do that. In Centurion though, you want to send the Vision Resonator. And we have 2 Called by the Grave here. Infinite Impermanence should be from a bundle as well. And I think everything else that I haven't gone over is in the structure deck. So you can see I've made some changes to the deck list, and assuming you just crafted the previous deck list and you have that and you want to expand into way more power with the Centurions, this will cost you 90 UR material and 120 SR material. Your Soul Resonator, if that was negated, and you have Void Apocalypse, you want to send Bone usually to still be able to, assuming you don't have Bone access. But if you don't have Soul Resonator or Bone, normally in Pure you would send Bone to make full 1-card combo, but here you can just simply send Vision Resonator, which adds Crimson Gaia, that can give you Soul Resonator, that gives you Bone Archfiend, into Crimson Resonator, into Abyss and Dissipator basically. Which, normally, you have a Vision Resonator left over, because Synchron Resonator added it to your hand when you were done with your combo. When you made Abyss at the end, or like you made Scar Red with Vision Resonator, then you make Abyss, added back Vision Resonator. So you have this Vision Resonator left over. You special summon it to your field and use it together with the Dissipator to make Auxilla. Auxilla will add a Centurion field spell to your hand, Stand Up Centurion, which will set Trudea by discarding one of the cards from your hand. Sets Trudea directly from the field, can special summon herself, and then her effect on the field is that she can set herself together with Primera from hand or deck, wherever she is, and you'll just simply set her, and then now she can special summon, which can add Wake Up Centurion. Wake Up Centurion, you use that, get a level 4 token, and then you can make Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. Now your board should be Auxilla, Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, and Abyss, but we'll get Supernova as well, but that will be on the enemy turn. Before we get there though, we'll use Wake Up Centurion and either send Phalanx or Field Spell. Phalanx is the best send, but let's say it's in our hand and we just set it because, you know, we have the back row space. You need to be very mindful. You need to have a space for Red Zone, Crimson Gaia, and then the 2 Centurion monsters. You'll reset Primera at the end of your turn with Auxilla, so you gotta be very mindful with how you manage your back row. That's why we usually want to send this to the graveyard instead. If it's in the graveyard, it can resummon Auxilla. If she was ever sent to the graveyard, like, you can just get her back, and that's really good and powerful. From then on, you're like, okay, so how do I get the Supernova Dragon? Well, you end your turn, and then on the enemy turn, main phase 1, they activate a card, and then you'll be allowed to summon both of these. With Trudea, you will select a level 8 on the prompt. Or like, do you want to level up or whatever it is. You just select to level her up. Then you can make Crimson Dragon by first chaining Primera, and then you chain lock her with Centurion Field Spell. lets you make Crimson Dragon from your extra deck on the enemy turn. Then you need to toggle on, by the way, before Crimson Dragon hits the field. You need to toggle on your toggle, whatever. You should be able to figure out how to toggle on. Crimson Dragon will target Auxilla, and then you get to summon Red Supernova Dragon. If you're more experienced, you can know when to summon Zephyr or Blazer Dragon. Blazer is the non-budget version of this, but we're running budget here, so you're running Zephyr. This will otherwise be a good follow-up for when the turn goes back to you, and you can kind of maybe use Crimson Dragon again if you want to summon the other level 12 that you didn't summon. And if you do have the ability to put a Centurion Oath, let's see where's Oath right there in your deck, you will have the option of just cutting the Red Nova real quick and adding in Primera, which opens up some other stuff. And if you do want to cut some bricks, there is an option to use the card called Gargoyle, which should be right here, which is a replacement for Wake Up and Phalanx. If you want to do what Gargoyle does without running it because it cuts away the Scarlight 1-card combo thing, then you can run Atri instead. Not that I should be recommending it, but Atri does some nice things in my opinion at least. So I think that covers just about it of the new cards added here. Here we have my Master 1 list. Now, if you're copying this, I would recommend cutting Chain Resonator. Nibiru actually didn't do anything for me, I will say. So I think I would have been happier with a copy of Droll or something else, like maybe an extra Duis Realm. Like I could have done this instead, like, right? That's what you could do. Like I would obviously have done this with Chain Resonator, but me suggesting that you could do this if you don't like Nibiru, but Nibiru is perfectly fine to have in the deck list, right? Or you can go a completely different route and grab Dual and Lockbird, like this, right? That works completely fine as well. And I'll now go over all the cards that are kind of new to this deck. So we have Chaos Angel. Obviously we have Blazer Dragon. I've mentioned this before, but here it is, right? And then you have Primera Primus, which I think I mentioned that in the previous deck list at the end or something. But you want her when you have one Oath in the deck. I think the first Oath is very high value. And then you kind of want to craft the Prisoner Stone Sweep after. Like these are some of the last crafts you do for your deck. No budget, basically, from doing budgeting, right? Probably one, and then you craft two, then you craft the second Oath, then you craft the third Sweeper. I'm not entirely sure, and then you can craft the last Oath, right? But these are like the kind of big new cards to talk about. Then Foolish Burial wasn't in the other list, and then I think the last one to go over is Artwi. Artwi is kind of my Gargoyle cope, because some of the fanciest lines with Gargoyle you can kind of do with Artwi, but the benefit of Gargoyle is you can literally cut 3 cards for it, right? So you don't run 3 bricks, but you run Gargoyle, but then your 1-card combo is way weaker, and you can't do a bunch of fancy lines that I like to do with Wake Up Centurion that Gargoyle doesn't allow. So for me, Artwi is kind of a cope. It also powers up significantly if you only open Centurion. You'll have a literal draw engine. You'll draw for your turn, and then you'll draw on your enemy's turn, which allows you to draw into hand traps and your RDA engine, which is really, really helpful. Now that the deck lists are done, let's go to a very spicy and absolutely cracked replay. So we have a bit of an awkward hand here. We have Tudea, so we have to play around that. Luckily we can add Crimson Resonator, which can kind of fix it. Though if they had an Imperm for the Primera there, we would have kind of just died. Luckily, they did not have that. At this stage, you might be like, okay, if Crimson Resonator resolves as this and you get Bone, then you run the game. Like, this is just OTK, like a FTK, honestly. And so you say, well, my opponent actually has 4 hand traps, and he's holding for some reason, and you'll see why very soon. And he'll unleash all the 4 hand traps on me, shutting down my turn completely. But before that happens, let's see what I'm setting up here. I'm setting up Scar Red, which goes into Abyss, and then I want a Dissipator, but I also want to set up Lubellion with the Regained, so that we just have some extra protection and recursion. Now, my issue here is that he has a Nibiru. It's fine, it's fine. We summon, like, Magnamod, banishing Abyss, and then we can make Dissipator with the Atri. We can't do that. Okay. Good, he has a level 6 Dark Monster, that means we can summon Vision Resonator, so we can get Scarlight at least. It's fine still. It's another Bestial. Okay, doesn't matter. We have Phalanx, we can bring back Auxilla, which gives us something very nice, which would be Blazer, because we're gonna be using Red Zone on the Abyss, but not that either. So we just have Red Zone on Abyss, and Nibiru for a bit of safety, which feels nice, right? I should not have Impulse Magnamod here. I was kind of tilted, I think, and that's why I didn't think rationally, but at least this is smart. Like, I'm actually committing my summons now, so he only gets 1 draw from it. Now, the issue here is that I kind of need to get rid of Duis Worm. Like, if I hadn't summoned the Magnamod, like, Tudea or the Abyss, there wouldn't be anything on my field that I would be afraid of, like, losing out on, right? So All things considered, this was a massive misplay, and if I had used the Bestial here when he's trying to do this for removal, I would have been way better off. We just at least get rid of the regain so that if we have to use the Bestial at the end phase, he at least doesn't get a dwarf from that and he doesn't get to summon back a Bestial. That's the thing I'm most afraid of, like he gets to summon back extra bodies. I don't want that to happen. Now we could Nibiru, but that gives him 2 dwarfs, so I'm kind of reluctant to Nibiru, and that's why I kind of feel like Nibiru has not really helped me on this climb at all. Maybe I'm inexperienced with using it. I would definitely have been better with a Bestial, right? I even had the Bestial in hand. If I just discarded Nibiru, I could maybe have made some more recovery plays here, or I would have just been better off because I just don't want to summon the Nibiru. He also just has like 2 bodies into DP as well. So 2 bodies into Fiendsmith, 2 bodies into DP. He gets rid of all my recursion with the Crimson Gaia and the Red Zone gone, but here's the thing, he didn't finish me, so I don't mind. Also, we allow him to get rid of the Nibiru token like that, because I don't want to deal with recurring DP, he would get rid of it anyways. This is fine, don't care, he's gonna shuffle back in my Chaos Angel, doesn't matter. Our win condition is very simple, we need to get Abyss banished and we need to get a Dissipate out and then we have game. So that's literally everything we're gonna go for here. Now, I do want to pop the entire field because this is some damage that can really put him down to an easy amount to destroy, even because we have the Bone Archfiend, right? But he had Imperm. At least we got the Imperm beta out, which means now it's very safe to grab Uvua Loop, which means we can actually make a Dissipator here. Isn't that nice? Simply remove that, and then we can bring back Abyss. That means Bone can take care of that, and then we have lethal damage on board. And even if we didn't, we could bring back something to keep playing, but wasn't even necessary because he decided to surrender. We have a very spicy and actually insane game against Fiendsmith P.U.N.K right here. You're gonna love this. So, why are you gonna love this when I use Fuvalos and it's a heavy combo deck? Kinda cheapens the whole thing, right? That I get to draw a lot or they have to end their turn. Sometimes, I mean, it's more fine against Primite decks or Fiendsmith Control, like Blue-Eyes or Fiendsmith Control, because they can do a lot of stuff and be very annoying as long as they went first. The Duel. That's why this is a spicy game. You know. Also, I did a mistake here. I summoned a Bestial when I have Imperm in hand. Now, the reason why I did that is because at this point in time, I was busy like, talking to some people on... Well, not talking, but like writing on the Resonator Discord in between my opponent doing their plays. And I didn't think. I was just like, oh yeah, I need to hit I need to hit the engine, right? Fiendsmith Engine, gotta get that out of the way. A Bestial, and then I'm like, I have the Imperm, right? Kinda annoying. Turns out, happy little accidents, because P.U.N.K is known for doing some things that can let you use Imperm if you saved it. So, to some degree, this is actually a massive Gigabrain play, because there you go. Summon the Vision Resonator, use the special summon effect, by the way, and now we can Imperm the Appaloosa, which allows us to play to a back row and whatever disruption they have, monster disruption. So, not sure about what the back row is, but I would assume that at this point in time, I assume it's a trap that destroys a set card or face up if you have P.U.N.K. So I'm doing my best to play around that and try and do a layout play here in case they wanted to use it on the Lubellion, or if they wanted to use it on the Regained, then at least I could still do something and clear up their board. We're sending the Uvua Loop here because then we can get a draw, and also we added the Soul Resonator so we can get some destruction protection going. Best card I could draw there, by the way. That is literally one of the best cards I could draw there, because that gives me Abyss and I can add back the Vision Resonator, not that we can use it for anything, but this actually allows me to summon back the R-Tree, which means that right now we could make like we could summon the Uvua Loop after making Crimson Dragon, and then we can make Auxilla as well, because we are not currently Dark Dragon locked with what plays we've done. And we would be able to also set up possibly the Red Supernova Dragon, but we don't even need to because we have lethal, because they pay life points. So we're just shotgunning Fuvalos here, the royal one, hoping that, you know, he doesn't do anything, which he didn't. And he could actually do something. He has a Crossout Designator in hand, but when you shotgun Fuvalos, you're usually trying to bait it out, right? You're baiting out the Crossout, and usually you do that so you can max see them after, being like, haha, gotcha, right? This works out very great for me, because now it's like, okay, I know you don't have max C, so I'm just gonna cross out the Ash Blossom. I'm fine with that, because, hey, Fuvalos is an effect that limits your board, but again, it's Primite, Fiendsmith Control, right? They don't really care. They have set up everything they need to disrupt and get a turn, and then they can win, right? In this scenario, I've wanted them to actually use it on those, because I can see that I can lethal them this turn if I can resolve Bone Archfiend. And they only have one face-down card, so you know that could be a bit of a danger, but that's why we have the Soul Resonator, right? We can add something cool, but guess not. They have the Imperm. Now this doesn't matter, because normally you should be Bone Archfiend is the Imperm here, or like Red Rising, that wins the game, right? And I would agree with you, that is the correct choice. But hey, they have a Nibiru, so that is actually the better choice, because it stops me from adding some form of follow-up. Like, they don't know exactly what my deck is running, right? Maybe I could run Flame Crime, or maybe they don't want me to get the Uvur Loop, right? There's many things that they could block that way. And if they were planning to Nibiru anyways, right? Instead of it having no value, then it just makes sense. Unfortunately for me, even though I got completely rid of the Fiendsmith stuff by both having these two bandits with the Called by the Grave, they still get to do their Primite control, and unfortunately for me, they are running 2 drill beams. Which means, at this stage, my only hope is that they're gonna drill beam Crimson Gaia. And normally this is just a GG you lose, because we only play 2 Crimson Gaia, and I've already used Crimson Gaia's effect now. What do? Well, I'm not like everybody else. I run an extra brick that's called Chain Resonator that allows for crazy things like this. I win! Easy game, you used everything. You didn't expect the Chain Resonator, I bet, because who in their sane mind would do that? There was technically a play I could have made where I get back the Chain Resonator. Chain Resonator can special summon a Soul Resonator from deck, assuming I haven't used both yet. I don't think I did. Bit inoptimal thing, but I already see a lethal line, and I've already, like, as soon as I see that, I don't care. Like, you've used all your disruption, I see lethal, I go for lethal, right? Don't even need the Abyss back on the field, just setting up so I can pop those 2 and then literally have just enough damage, and that also adds to stand-up Centur-Ion, which is also why I didn't mind the Oath not functioning earlier, like baiting that out, because I was relying on the Auxilia eventually. This is enough to just win the game, so there we go. Very easy game, but honestly there were several challenges that presented a problem. We have a bit of a spicy game here, and don't worry, the Max C will barely do anything compared to their Max C, which you're gonna see in just a bit. So I have Max C here, just use it, and they refuse to play into it. So it's just basically a turn skip, but they still get to set up some disruption, unfortunately for me. Now, this is a game where Nibiru, surprisingly, is gonna do something. And you might be like, but you said during your climb, Nibiru did nothing. I'm like, well, it did nothing during the climb. This is a rated game. There's the P.U.N.K game that I think you've already seen by now is a rated game. Then there's one of the Fiendsmith Control games that's rated, and then this is also from rated. I had like 3 banger rated games while doing dailies, so over a few days, right? So here you go. So because I have the Nibiru, I make the executive decision to not push lethal, even though maybe I could. It would be risky, but I have Nibiru, so why risk, right? I can set up red zone. They're probably gonna get greedy. I can pop the True Light whenever they activate it. I want to save for that. And let's be honest, if they want to finish this turn, they're gonna play into Nibiru anyway, so it's completely fine by me. And this is the one game I've had Nibiru done anything for me. And it's even debatable if I needed it. Like, if they don't have a Nibiru in deck, maybe I could have played around. Well, it technically won me the game, so it gets this one. It gets this one. So I can red zone back this if I want to, but this is just perfect. He has activated it already, so we can just pop the field and everything's good. Everything's good. There we go. Resolve Fuvalos, which is actually very important because this is Atlantean. I don't know how this deck is okay in a best of 1. It seems completely absurd. I've heard that it's apparently pretty good. Don't know on what standard it's going second. So if this deck is fine, like obviously you'd want to go first because it hand loops you and completely messes up your entire time playing the game, and you want to uninstall, you know. But not that I would just exam right, because it's not fun. Like, who thought this was a good idea? They look at your hand, rip your Ash or your Nibiru or whatever you have, and then they just do all their stuff, and it's completely absurd. Like, why is this deck okay? I would assume that outside of like tournaments, it might actually be stronger in a best of 1 format because of how absurd it is, and I don't know how it's okay. I don't know how it's okay. I think some people have told me requires 2-card combos. I'm not entirely sure, but maybe that's why it's okay. Honestly, this deck should not exist. I want it completely banned. I know it's not considered like high meta or anything. It's not like maybe it's tier 3 or something. I don't care. Need it banned. This deck infuriates me on so many levels. Just felt like putting that in there. If I need to go first with my deck against it. If I go second, I need something like Fuvalos in this setup to do anything. And you might be right. Why is he using Impulse now? Well, that's the first option he got since he drew it from that thing when he discarded I called by the Graveyard, right? And now I have Lethal. I think I'm very reasonable in my unreasonable opinion of this deck, and I think it should just be banned across the board. Like, you should not have a hand loop deck that also apparently can go second, and it's not just a meme, and it's actually tiered. That should not be it. Should not be it. Not in a best of one format. Slight bit of a misplay here. Shouldn't have shotgun Fuvalos, but I was so desperate that I hoped that they would either just pass turn or give me a draw and I would draw something. There's a resonator call. Deck stacked for me, right? But I was kind of hoping for that because I needed something to resolve here, and I wanted them to think maybe it was a maxi, right? Play around it like that. That was my thinking. But objectively speaking, I should have waited for that on their turn, and then maybe Fuvalos there, get a draw, then Ash the Lacrima. I don't know, something like that. Either way, we can go into Primus here. This is first up a nip-proof line we're going for, but also this is why we saved the Call by the Grave and Ash the Requiem. And you can do this if you either run R3 or if you have Gargoyle instead of Wake Up and R3, right? That's how you'll do this. You'll set Trudea, then set Gargoyle. Gargoyle summon at level 4, and then you can make Auxilia. Then you add back Gargoyle. Gargoyle can later remove Trudea, so you're kind of fine. We will instead add Phalanx here, but normally you would add Wake Up, make the level 8 Wake Up token, right, for our purpose, and with Gargoyle you'll just like target Trudea, summon Gargoyle. So nip proof, they had to Nibiru or we get Blazar Dragon, right? That's how it goes. I mean, could also have gone Supernova, but here it's objectively always right to go Blazar because you'll do Supernova on their turn if you get that far. But here we just make a Scar Red, we crash, Crimson Gaia Scar Red, 2 bodies extra, we have over 8,000 attack for lethal, nothing on board because we crashed the Nibiru. So we have a bit of a crazy and actually funny game here, and I've never seen a deck like this before, but spoiler, it runs Kaiju and I think Dimension Fish, like Floodgates and stuff. So essentially their game plan is Psyche and Punisher and Floodgates. Maxi, yeah, so that's very annoying. Now, what is our game plan here? Well, we're gonna summon Soul Resonator and then it's gonna get banished. And I don't see any hard once per turn clause in this. Maybe I'm not paying attention properly, but they can remove 3 normal summons, right? When your opponent normal summons a monster, yeah. So that's 3 turns of me not normal summoning. They were going to battle phase here and they would have just killed me there, so I need to actually set up the Chaos Angel. And I'm just gonna remove the Lordly Load, there you go. Then he can't banish something from my field like my Crimson Gaia or Centur-Ion field spell. Which honestly I'm surprised he didn't try and do, but again he probably doesn't want to lose that amount of life points and I could still have kind of blocked him and then maybe I could have gone for something. To be honest here, what I could kind of do is go for a Red Rising, but it doesn't really do anything, so I have to actually discard the Sweeper. But you see here, we would probably have been able to set up something very easily with a Scar Red and pop them if they were at a lower life point. So if they had gotten rid of the Centurion field spell, first up we would have just played another and we would have just won basically. But the life points are a bit too high, we're just setting up an Abyss so we can negate what they have. But honestly, the moment they draw like anything to remove something from my board and replace it with a monster, so a Kaiju or whatever, then I lose. I don't know this at this stage, but that would literally make me lose. Obviously, showing you this game because I won, right? But that's just the risk every turn. So at this stage, I'm just okay. I wanna combo. I want a combo. I'm setting up combo. I'm comboing. So we just I'm getting a bit too eager here because now my board is kind of filled up and I can't do Supernova Dragon. Kind of forgot about that a bit, but hey, it's fine. We're setting up for winning next turn anyway, so that was kind of the main play here. In response to that, I just summon Red Dragon Archfiend, so I have the pop in case of various things. And yeah, I'm like, okay, can remove it, can shuffle it back in for a draw, and we're gonna go for lethal this turn. Like, I'm not taking any more risks. We have all the things we need. This is a bit weird, right? But I can summon it back and I need the board spaces. And it's like, okay, you're summoning the Centurion, what are you making? Why it's still level 4? No, we're popping. And Now we just need to return it to the extra deck. We can use Crimson Gaia for that. And now we can simply resummon it and pop it again. But I forgot something, right? Primite Roar. We can just bring back this Dispater. Dispater can bring it back. And we have one special summon monster on the field that we can pop with Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. This is one of the reasons why I would never want to remove Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend from my deck, because it can get over some absurd nonsense like this. So we're playing against Blue-Eyes here. Luckily we have Called by the Grave, and we have 2 of them, so we can get rid of the Effect Veiler. That allows us to actually play the game, and we can discard Abyssal here because it feels safe, and that gives us Lubellion. Doesn't matter. We have Called by the Grave. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Now, what happens when they have an Ash Blossom, though? Good thing, though, we didn't have to call by our own Ash Blossom to that degree, so we get to use that turn, and we set up a Dispater, which is actually online because of the 2 Called by the Graves. Some crazy synergy there, isn't it? Yeah, I gotta negate that. I'm not enabling them to set up Primite Control right now. That, I'm not taking risks here, just gonna get rid of that because it's an important hit, but they have Maiden in hand. Keep in mind, Maiden is still at 3 at this stage of the replay. We just summon back a body that can potentially mill another Lubellion or something, so we don't... Ideally a Magnemod, so that if something gets summoned on our turn, we can just kinda get some value there. But he obviously negates that. Okay, we are looking good, because he has 1 card, which we can kinda negate if we need to. Also, we just drew Resonator Call, so we're good. And he scoops as a result, because we could have done so many things and we would have won the game that turn. Another game against Fiendsmith Control, shotgunning the Fuva loss because we have Bone Archfiend in hand and we don't care if they just pass, we're gonna make plays. Here I'm actually gonna Ash Blossom that because they were getting a draw and a Magnemod, which is Abyssal on my turn for disruption, if I didn't, so I didn't want them to be able to do stuff basically. Here, you'd think we're going Special Summon Crimson Reso, Bone Archfiend, right? No. No, we're doing the safest play possible here. We're sending Lubellion, which means we can bait out the Imperm or the Drill Beam, because let's be honest, they have an active Drill Beam. We saw them have a Primite they kept in hand, right? That's the reason why they didn't normal summon it. They needed in hand for the Drill Beam, obviously. So they kind of telegraphed the Drill Beam in my head, and I played around it perfectly here. This means that we just have lethal on board now. You might be like, does your lethal count for that? And I'm like, actually, yeah, it kind of does. We just go into Abyss here, which means that we have an OG Red Dragon Archfiend in the graveyard, and we can go into Scarlight, we can pop the Saronir. But that also means that he resummons the Saronir now with the branded Regained. But we can just negate that because we have Abyss. And that was technically enough to lethal, but we're BMing a bit here. We want the beautiful board, by the way. We've used Fuvalos here against Primite Blue-Eyes deck. Unfortunately, they do not care that much. Let's just put it as it is. They can do minimal special summons that give us draw, or they can just do none technically if they wanted to. And they do decide to give us a few draws here, and that is one of the best draws in my deck, and that's the other best draw in my deck. Cool! We get to play around so much with this hand. They have a Maxi, we just use Cross-Out Designator. I think he wanted to try and Drill Beam, but he can't do it because of how the chain works. So he wanted his Maxi to resolve, but I'm not sure if that's actually what happened here, if he just wanted his Drill Beam online to what I'm doing next. Either way, I know that now I have to bait out the Drill Beam. I had already planned a way to get past his seal, so like force it out and then set up full combo, but he just allows us to do it very easy. I don't even want to activate this in case he has a Ghost Ogre or something, so we just go into Kui Belt, which is just very nice. It's just a way safer play, and we also have the Synchron Resonator, so there isn't much to worry about. And even though this replay is a bit old, we still get to see the very cool, the awesome, the new Supernova animation. And I do have to stop the fast forward to get it, so there you go. It's an older replay before the animation. I love that it just... I love they've given us this amazing animation. Like, I absolutely love it. I'm so happy about that. And he scoops at this stage. We are gonna obviously push for lethal damage. We're going second against Centurion. They open field spell. I'm doing something very risky here. High risk ratio here. If they had Oath, we would have just lost there. Pretty much. But they didn't. So that was all they had. And now it's my turn. Now, unfortunately for me, the reason why they didn't have extra extenders in hand is because they do have a Maxi. Now, there's a golden rule with Red Dragon Archfiend. They Maxi you. You're going second, it's your turn, there's an open board, you go for lethal. All the day. You pray that they don't draw Nibiru, and you go for lethal, because the only thing that's gonna stop you from winning this game is Nibiru. Now here's a fun thing. They have to synchro now, which means I can instantly banish the synchro. They would probably have gone for Baron de Fleur, like the Stardust thing, then bring back a level 2 quick synchro, right? But I get to banish it, so that wouldn't have worked out, and we just get rid of it like that. And then also the chain link kind of protected my ball track very nicely. And look at that! They draw Nibiru, the one thing we don't want to see. But hey, look at me, because they actually did stuff, that Nibiru could be negated. And now we just have lethal. Easy as that. Lethal on board, opponent scoops. Nothing else he could have drawn that could have helped them. Opponent is actually playing P.U.N.K, but you kind of don't need to know this. Also, I'm going for this specifically because I have Bone Archfiend that can remove Trudea, so I could just set it, go straight into Auxilia, because I want to do the safer line, and I also just want to, you know, I actually get to put on the discard here, and then I get to set archery, which you don't get to do unless you're running archery, right? This comes up, just trust me on this, it's gonna be glorious. So I summon Soul Resonator, and guess what? That's a Nibiru. Yeah, so we have a Vua loop, which means we just simply banish the Auxilia, and now we full combo anyways, because we don't care. We do not care about your Nibiru, so... And we also have a Maxi for your turn, so... This game is too unfair, honestly. Maybe I shouldn't have showed it, I just feel like, hey, I'm playing around Nibiru, right? That Nibiru should have ended my turn, but... Hey, I have Atri, so I don't care. Honestly, a Bestial plus Vision Resonator and Synchron Resonator would have kind of done the same, right? But hey, here we go. Set up. We even get we got the draw off the Atri, and we're getting another draw, right? And there's the Maxi, and I understand why they scoop. Like, that is understandable. Sorry, P.U.N.K, you didn't deserve this game, quite literally. Bit of an unfortunate hand here with the Atri and the Centur-Ion Wake Up. Well, that's even more unfortunate, because we technically had one card combo, just couldn't play into any disruption. Now, we do have Maxi. Wait, this made it to the video. Ah, dang it. Yeah, that's what that means. Not winning because of Maxi. Okay, Ash Blossom. We have to take the gamble there, because if he has Maiden in hand, we lose anyways, and if he doesn't, that gives us a chance. That lets us stay in the game. Now, it can be worse. He can have 2 light in hand. That would be really devastating if he had 2 light. So he sets an Imperm and he sets 2 light. And by the way, we can't activate that Ghost Over in response to the 2 light because it's not already face up. Okay, we just add the Soul back and it's an Imperm. Yeah. Honestly, it might, in hindsight, might have been wrong to set down the Wake Up Centur-Ion, because especially if it ends like this, we kind of need it in hand. Well, what's the chances that he has a Blue-Eyes in hand? Okay. Well, at least we got rid of that. Wow, that's a good draw. What we can do is we can actually normal summon and draw with R3 now, and he decides to scoop. Also, I think we could have only really made Primus, maybe? I don't know. But hey, he scooped, he didn't want any of that, but there you go. I decide to not use Called by the Grave here because they could have Maxi, and that's way more important. And now I actually only have a 3-card hand, and I decide to go for a line that don't want to play with, like, again, the end result is still fine with this, technically speaking. It's just very unfortunate the opponent I'm against. So what I could do is Primera and then Trudea to level 8, and then I can activate the Crimson Resonator with Auxilia, or I could go and set Atri and then do something there, so I still have the, well, Supernova on their turn. Instead I decide to go for something a bit different, where I wanted to not discard Primera, but I failed to account for the fact that, yeah, I only have a 3-card hand, so I have to discard, or the better option would actually be to Crimson Gaia, discard the back Vision Resonator, discard it, and then, you know, you still get to set her and then get the Phalanx in the graveyard. Which, like, honestly, you look at this is fine. I have the option to go into Chaos Angel if the deck is countered by that, and I have the option to go into, like, Crimson Dragon as well if I need that, and I have the double banish. So all in all, this is a very solid, very good board. It's just specifically in this matchup, I'm very hard countered by the fact that I went for the wrong line when the other one was, strictly speaking, better in every way. You see, that's the punish. I don't have Phalanx, can't bring her back, can't make Supernova. And Supernova absolutely solos here. You may also have noticed that, like, they have Fiendsmith combo, they have the Super Pulley, they kind of had the Castia Fenrir opener. Like, they crazy lock, honestly. The only thing they're lacking is Tearlament, right? But here's a spoiler. This is the luckiest player ever. Like, this one duel, makes me believe this is the luckiest in-game player ever. Like, just when they duel this duel, they had all the luck possible, and you'll see why. They need to mill exactly 2 Tearlament monsters. They milled 2 Tearlament monsters. Now you're like, but they don't have Fairy Tale Snow, and they don't have Happiness, and they don't have the 2 Shufflers. Just wait for it. Just wait for it. And you might be like, oh, okay, if they mill all of that, that's crazy, right? It gets better than that. Even better. You can't even imagine it. Look at their deck size, by the way. It's 23 cards left, and guess what cards they're about to mill in a bit. Guess what cards they're about to mill in a bit. And 2 of their best cards in deck, by the way, especially against me, specifically. Okay, so summon that from deck because, yeah, they... Look at this absurdness. Look, do you see what they mill? Do you see what they mill? Have this and Shuffler. Also, I cannot activate Crimson Guy here because it might allow them to either win that turn or, like, they will negate and destroy, right? They will negate the activation, then destroy, and then I need it. So I literally could not activate it there. Because they milled another Tearlament name. Out of 2 cards, by the way, when there were, like, what, 19, like, what was it, 21 cards in deck or something? 19? I don't know. Was it 20 cards in deck? They milled 2 and then one of them is a Tearlament name, like, or was it more? Like, it's absolutely insane. By the way, they just milled another tier name and they got Fairy Tale Snow. And they also have the other Shuffler. So that's 2 Tearlament names in both turns and then all the other cards they need. So they're just the luckiest player ever. And the fact that they also got the Snow, right? That kind of completely shuts down what I wanted to do here. I had to use the negate there instead of maybe someplace else. Who knows? That's the Shuffler. Honestly, this play didn't do anything other than bait out the Shuffler. And I noticed that they were low on time with some of the actions they were taking here and how they were delayed a bit. We simply do it like this. Decide to pop that so that this attack isn't, like, pumped up. And I also checked that this couldn't equip itself from graveyard like the sequence. Wanted to remove its attack because it, again, pierces and high attack. So just wanted to make sure that we don't lose the duel right away. But it is looking pretty bad. And it's all because, yeah, they had Super Pulley, there was Super Pulley deck, there were Tearlaments, they got lucky. Like, all the things in their favor, by the way. Every single thing that could go right for them is going right for them. And I kind of misplayed for what opponent I was against. But here we go. We are basically dead because keep in mind that they have Fairy Tale Snow. Like, normally they would need to crash ride, and it's like they just summon Fairy Tale Snow, flip it in defense, and they time out. Yeah, so I didn't deserve to win this game because of not playing the absolute best possible line I could there, when the line would have died to Imperm anyways. Regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you again next time.